Today I'm talking about the new album by Blue Oyster Cult called Ghost Stories. This is supposedly their last album, and it's not a new studio album, but a compilation of songs that were recorded from 1978 to 1983 and one from 2016. There are some cover songs, a Beatles cover from 2016, and supposedly they also used AI on this album, so I'll be talking about all of that. Blue Oyster Cult is one of the most important bands in the development of this channel. So let me explain. I started this channel on a whim back in September of 2020. The Symbol Remains was one of the first new album reviews that I ever did. It was released a few weeks after I launched my channel. At first it was something I thought I was doing for fun, but this album review was the first one that really took off. You see, my first few videos were only getting between 9 or 10 views each, but I remember this was the first one that started to take off. I even remember celebrating that it hit 100 views in the first 48 hours, which at the time was a big deal for me. I mean, now 100 views is pretty much like the bare minimum that I expect one of my videos to do. But eventually, this one kept getting more views. It currently stands at 765, which is not too much of a big deal now, but at that time, it was. It was one of those videos that got views slowly over time. I'm checking my analytics right now. The video hit 500 views about 2 months after its release. So basically, it was the album review that made me believe that I can turn this channel into something. Let me address the elephant in the room, that is the use of AI. So basically, these songs were co-produced by George Gerianos, and he was the band's original audio engineer. He co-produced these original recordings, and they were originally recorded on a reel-to-reel analog tape. But for this album, they transferred them to digital audio, and this is where they used AI. They took these recordings and they were demixed, remixed, and touched up, and then they were produced by Steve Schenk and Richie Castellano. The album has 12 tracks. It's 41 minutes long. The opening track is called Late Night Street Fight. I like this one a lot. Might be my favorite track on the album. One thing that stands out is the production. It's very good. I really like the bass guitar sound on this track. This one sounds like something from the early 70s era. Has that hard rock sound with its kind of 70s style boogie rock sound. I thought the guitar solo was really good on this track. The next one is called Cherry, and this one sounds like that old time rock and roll. It has the sound of late 50s or early 60s rock and roll. I really like this song. Has that throwback sound. It also has some modern sounds added in, like a guitar solo by Buck Dharma. Songs in the album are very diverse, but this was the only one in that style. Next is So Supernatural, and this one had somewhat of a creepy vibe. The intro sounded like the band Voivod, but then the rest of the song reminded me of one of those classic Alice Cooper songs. There's a music video that's part CGI. It looks like a video game, and they include what appears to be old live music clips. The video also has lots of subtle references to classic Blue Oyster Cult songs. If you go to the official YouTube video, someone pointed them out in the comments section. This is also one of my favorites on the album. It has that spooky vibe, and I always thought this song was very memorable and catchy. Next is the first cover song of We Gotta Get Out of This Place, originally by The Animals. I've always liked the song. The original came out in 1965. I think it's an early precursor to metal. But as for this version, I think it's a good rendition. They make it sound pretty more upbeat. They added more guitars. It gives it more of a metal edge. The vocals are awesome. I think the song works well as a hard rock song. It's another song that I like a lot. So far, the first 4 tracks on this album were all strong. I think the album starts to take a dip in quality at this point, or at least in my opinion it does. The next song is Slow Jive. This one reminded me of those 70s funk bands like Grand Funk Railroad with some of that R&B sound and some of that soul. I didn't dislike the song. It has some nice guitar playing, and the main guitar riff is pretty cool. Maybe a little similar to the Beatles' Day Tripper, but anyway, it was not too bad. Next is the song Gun. This one has that classic Blue Oyster Cult sound from the early to mid 70s. The song is decent. I wouldn't call it one of the standout tracks. It works in the context of this album. I would say that the song is a nice balance between the guitars and the keyboards. The next song is called Shot in the Dark, and no, it's not the Ozzy Osbourne song. At first I thought it was going to be a slow piano blues song, kind of that music you would hear late night at a piano bar. But then the song picks up. It begins to sound like something from their early days. It's an upbeat blues rock song with some nice guitar playing and accompanied by piano. This was another song that was just okay for me. It was not very memorable, but maybe it will grow on me. On the plus side, the guitar solo is very good. The next song is called The Only Thing. This sounds like some of that 1970s soft rock, something like Air Supply or some yacht rock. This was not too bad, but also not one of my favorites on the album. On a positive note, I like the bass playing and the organ sounds. This was another one that might grow on me over time. Then we have their cover of Kick Out the Jams by MC5, and this one's not too bad. It's a faithful cover of the original. It also has a live music feel, but then again, the original was recorded in front of a live audience, if I remember correctly. The guitar solo is awesome, and these guys can really shred when they want to. Money Machine is a 60s style blues track that reminded me of some classic Rolling Stones. This one had a sound in line with their first few albums. This track was not too bad. It had a 60s rock and roll piano sound and some of that psychedelic rock influence. The lyrics were pretty cool, talking about being a slave to the money machine and working all the time. The penultimate song sounds like it came straight out of the 80s. The name of the song, Don't Come Running to Me, it has that classic arena rock sound. This sounds like it could have been used in like a Rocky montage. I can imagine a band like Ghost singing this kind of song. This was one of the better ones from the second half of the album. The final song is a cover of the Beatles' classic If I Fell, originally from the Hard Day's Night album. This is a faithful cover of the original. I don't have much more to say about it. It did not stray too much from me. And now for my final thoughts. Well, in essence, this is not a normal studio album, but it's a collection of remixed tracks that were left over from the early days. And this is not the first band to ever do that. The album Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones comes to mind. But I can't help to say that this feels like a compilation album. That's just what it feels like to me. I'm not saying it's bad. It just has that feel. I think the album has a stronger front half with songs like Late Night Street Fight, Cherry, So Supernatural, and We Gotta Get Out of This Place. I think the album takes a little bit of a dip around the middle with Soul Jive, Gun, Shot in the Dark, and The Only Thing. And it picks up a little bit with Kick Out the Jams, Money Machine, Don't Come Running to Me, and If I Fell, which is the end of the album. So overall, it's decent, not their best album, but it's enjoyable. My score is 7 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think it's a really great album, so let me know. Here's my video for The Symbol Remains. Keep in mind, this was one of my first videos. I used this crappy webcam. The quality's not great. I edited it with Windows Movie Maker on an old computer, which I don't even have anymore. But check it out. Nonetheless, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please give this video a like. I will see you in the next one.